Hello, welcome to Walpole United WFC.
Hello all, good evening and welcome back to Walpole United WFC. What a week for Man United women, eh? I've been dying just to talk to somebody about it, and I'm glad I've got these guys with me to talk about the women's side. I've been just ever since Wednesday night, man. I've just wanted to speak to somebody about it. So I hope everyone's still as excited as we are. But we do have obviously another test coming at the weekend. We'll get into all of that. We've got a lot of talking points to go through the show, so make sure you get your comments in. We'll try and get through as many as we can. We better start with Wednesday night then. I think I'll go around the house. We'll get each of your kind of opinions on that. Atanu, I'll come to you first. I hope you're well. How are you kind of feeling off the back of the Arsenal game on Wednesday night?
Buzzing, like Russo scoring the goal, hearing the new chant, the Tooney and Russo chant, Mark Skinner dancing to fans singing for him, Russo scoring that header, Katie Selem getting that free kick, beautiful pinpoint accuracy. It's hard to sum it up in words, but buzzing is the only word that comes up in my mind when I think about that 1-0 win. It is somehow related to the 1-0 win that we got last season when Tooney scored that winner, Jess Sigsworth with the assist. So something on that. But yeah.
Brilliant. Namrata, yourself, I'm sure we're all going to say similar things here about that Arsenal game, but I'm sure you were as buzzing as well.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was so happy that we won that game. And I think especially because towards the end of last season, it felt like I think a lot of us were talking about it doesn't matter if we beat the big three sides, but we have to take points from the other teams. So I think there was not a lot of confidence within fans that we could actually beat one of City, Chelsea, or Arsenal. I mean, even though we did beat them in the Conti Cup, so I think it was a really big boost for us, and great game. I think end to end, and it was an 85th minute winner. That's exactly what you want in a quarterfinal.
Yeah, it's funny you say that actually, because I remember saying to John and Karen at the ground, I said that we weren't scoring in the first half. They were waiting until it was in front of us to score, the winner late on. That's what they were waiting for. They knew. John, hope you're doing well. It's your debut on the channel. Not a bad game to come off the back of. How are you kind of feeling after the Arsenal result on Wednesday?
No, thanks very much for having me, and good evening, everyone. Yeah, it was a magnificent win against Arsenal and through to the semi-finals. Also, we've won 5 games in a row now, on either side of Christmas and New Year. I went to the Birmingham game, which was a brilliant performance as well. And yeah, it's a big game on Saturday, and yeah, we can look forward positivity for the rest of the season. We're now in the top 3. We're joined with Chelsea now for second place, albeit they have 2 games in hand, so onwards and upwards.
And Nat, you said something quite interesting yesterday. I can't remember whether it was yourself actually, or somebody said on the show that Man United shouldn't have gone in as much as underdogs as maybe some of us fans thought. Were you expecting that kind of performance and result yesterday, or did that come as a kind of surprise?
I was definitely expecting a big. Yeah, I was definitely expecting a big performance, and obviously they delivered it. I think I was like you, Connor. I was sort of like, I need someone to speak to, so that's why I did an impromptu spaces, and Atanu and Namrata joined, and we were just talking about it before, talking about it after, and it sort of links into a topic that I'm going to discuss. But how I feel about this, it's some of the best football that I've seen us play since we started. I mean, we played great football in the Championship, and yes, we were full time, but you can only beat what's in front of you. You play great football. This run, and I'm including out of last season when we did beat Arsenal, we drew against Chelsea. This football that I'm seeing is some of the best football I've ever seen. So, I don't. It's just a start though, and I did like what he said. Like, it's if we beat in Arsenal and that's all it is, just winning a quarter final, it's nothing really. And I'm still buzzing, but I'm like, right, what's next. That's what I'm thinking. One step at a time, one game at a time.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like I said at the start of the show. I've just been waiting to talk about this to anybody, everyone and everybody, because I think Skinner is right. It is only a quarter final, but I think it felt a bit more than that. Watching it was I believe someone correct me if I'm wrong, but the first win away at a top three side, your Chelsea, Arsenal, City away from home. So to get that, it's more of you get over the kind of mental block there, and we know we can go to plays. Obviously, we're going to need to do it again when we go away to Chelsea and Arsenal in a couple of weeks as well. I think it was just a big, and what pleased me the most, I don't know whether anyone else wants to jump off the back of this, but it wasn't a fluke. We didn't go there, sit everyone behind the ball, defend for 90 minutes and nick one on the break. We were in that game. We had chances in the first half. We had chances in the second half. Arsenal, I believe, only had one shot on target. So the fact that we were so in the game, I think that's more of a positive. I don't know whether anyone's got anything to add off the back of that.
Yeah, definitely. It was an excellent performance. And, when it's a cup tie, anything can happen. And I think it's obviously, whether it's the men's or the women's game, it's a winners take all scenario. And but of course, Arsenal last game they had a 2-0 defeat to Birmingham, and we beat them 5-0. And we were the team that were going into that game with momentum, and we absolutely capitalised on it. It was a fully deserved victory, and like you say, Connor, it's a massive step that we can actually believe when we go to these places, we actually have a chance of winning or getting a result. So, and that bodes well for the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll start with yourself, Atanu, in terms of your topics. I believe it kind of ties into the Arsenal game itself, and in particularly the defensive side. Do you want to lead us into that one?
Yeah, like I was, of course, Russo scored the goal. We are all proud of her, but I was really impressed by the defensive performance, be it Sophie Bagley or be it the back four. So, first of all, Arsenal were pressing, even United were pressing, but Arsenal were pressing a lot higher up the pitch from the initial stages. So, I like the way the defenders absorbed the press and they didn't fumble. Yes, there were a few loose passes here and there, but it was about the intent to win the ball back, and that's something that I'm really impressed by in the last few games. And it was the fifth clean sheet in a row, which really speaks highly of our defensive structure right now. Millie Turner's comeback has been a blessing in disguise. No disrespect to Maria Thoresdottir, but Mannion and Millie together are looking like a solid centre back partnership, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sarina Wingman, if she's watching the United games lately, she might include both of them in the starting 11. And I see Namrata laughing. I'll just list out the names that might be in the starting 11 for England: Mary Earps, Hannah Blundell, Rachel Daly, maybe if she joins us, Millie Turner,
She's
Aoife
benign at
Mannion.
this point.
5 players, back 5, all United. Tooney, Russo, 7 players. Who are Manchester City in this? We'll run this town. So this is the Manchester United FC team. But yeah, I think Thor didn't look so comfortable as at the right back position. Maybe because it was her first time this season or the second time that she was playing at that position. But I think if you have to play Maria Thorisdottir, it would be better to play her as a centre back. Kirsty Hansen's injury on the right flank, she plays on the right flank. It was a very bad thing, and due to which Maria Thorisdottir had to play higher up the pitch, and Hansen had to drop in sometimes because she wasn't feeling her best self. Um, Millie Turner going ahead and coming back, but my player of the match was Hannah Blundell in that game because we could see her attacking, forming that link up with Leah Galton and Katie Selem in the midfield, and then dropping back to defend. Even if the attack was against Maria Thorisdottir, she came back from all the way from ahead of the pitch, and I think that really speaks highly of how Hannah Blundell has adjusted into this team. I know I was the first one who questioned why is Hannah Blundell a part of the LJ swap, but it has worked out. It has worked out in our favor, and I'm really happy about it. Yeah, people weren't too keen about players coming in the summer, Aoife Mannion, Hannah Blundell, Martha Thomas, but if we think about it now, they are our key players, whether it is the cup game or it is the league game. So yeah, it's not like I've mentioned it on Twitter a number of times. It's not a bunch of individuals in this team. It's a proper team playing for each other, and that's what I really like about. That's what I really like about this team. And how can I not mention Haley Ladd? She's an integral part of defending our defense, our silent guardian. So yeah, I think I was really impressed by the defense in that game. And sorry, I'm speaking so much, but Sophie Bagley, we Natalie and I were talking. We didn't think that Sophie Bagley might start. We thought that it's a key game, and maybe Mark plays Sophie Bagley in the Spurs game, and not in this game. But Sophie Bagley started, kept her composure. There are times when the opposition is playing a pressing game, and the goalkeeper is like whether I should stick to my line or come out. And I think she managed it pretty well. She balanced both of the things. So Sophie Bagley, another amazing performance in the cup.
Can I just jump in here? Is that all right, Connor? Or
yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I just want to touch on, just because you're talking about defense there and how well they did, and obviously it was talk about the attack, because like Connor said, they had one shot on target. I mean, that's credit to the defense as well. But I think the amount of shots that we had on target, that attack was definitely there. But just in terms of the defense and like two names, and like you said, we did say Sophie, Mary's sort of our number one, and it's a big game. And I was saying play Mary, but then we sort of did say about, well, look at what happened, even in the men's side, Sophie's the cup keeper, she should play. And I think I saw a tweet, and it was just saying, credit to him for keeping that kind of, I don't know if it's a promise, but it must be a promise or some kind of thing, like you're going to play the league, you're going to play the cup. And, a game like Arsenal, even Chelsea, you might think, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to keep Sophie, even in the final. I wouldn't be changing. I think Sophie is, come to Manchester United. She would have known she was going to be a two. She, even when you heard her first sign, she was talking about, I'm here to, make the, so she knew Mary was the first choice, and Mary's first choice for England as well. And I feel like we've talked about it in this show, Sophie sort of pushed Mary to be better. But yeah, so I think, credit to Mark for sticking with that, because I think other people might have swapped it. So yeah, but I think as well, the name that you said, Thor, she did start off a bit shaky, but then I think in the second half, especially when we were defending against, for it, she was solid. And if she did miss it, then Mannion came into cover, and I just feel like they've all got each other. They've all got each other all around the park, but like that back five has always got each other, no matter what name is in there. It works. The team is together, and you can really see it.
Hey, yeah, I was making a point there, and there's no coincidence that the 5 games we won in a row, and we've kept 5 clean sheets in those games, and I think that's made a big difference. I think the overall team, the change in structure, I think, bringing in Ladd, Boarisa, Zellem, I think that's giving us more control in midfield now, and that's possibly been the biggest change I've noticed in this winning run that we've gone on. And we'll say that I think Aoife Mannion, I think, is a brilliant centre half. I'm been so impressed with her the times I've seen her. I've seen her live twice, and it goes to show that if you don't look like you're conceding, you only need one goal to win a game, and it was demonstrated against Arsenal. And if you're defensively sound, that's the basis in which you can go on to achieve things, such as whether we get in the top 3 or whether we get to a final or win a trophy. Where we're building a solid basis now to challenge going forward.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that I really like about Mark, and it's something, so we compare him to Casey a lot, but I think one thing where he has, I think, done really well is that in his mind he has a cup team, and he uses the cups to kind of give players that chance. While I felt under Casey, what it used to happen is that we would have the strongest 11 if we were facing a difficult team, even in Conti Cup or FA Cup. Even in this match, I think when Hansen got injured, he subbed in Ivana Fuso. If it was Casey, she would have probably immediately subbed in Russo straight away. She would have, probably still started Una, and more or less, I would say that uh, he's committed to the fact that he has to give chances to everyone. And what it helps for us, what really helps with us with this is that the players are kind of getting minutes. So the moment in the first team, if somebody is injured or somebody cannot play, you have another person who would have got some minutes in the last few matches. And I think when Ivana came on, it also gave us a pretty good advantage. She looked sharp. She was very good, kind of holding the ball, getting away from the defenders. So I definitely expect him to go with this philosophy all through the final. I mean, I think he'll still start Bagley as Nat said, and I think he will give players like I mean, for me, I feel if Carrie Jones is fit and it's a final of Conti Cup, if we get into that, he will still play her. He will trust her to go on and get some minutes and do well for her. So I think this is one part where he's done really well, Mark.
Yeah, 100%. And just to give my kind of 2 cents on what Atanu's topic, the defence, in particular against the Arsenal. I think if there's one clip that kind of epitomised that, I think it came out today or somebody put it yesterday, the Mannion clip where she picks the ball up and just, under so much pressure, she's got 3 or 4 players running her down, just controls it nicely like into midfield, and we start an attack from that. I think that just shows the composure that back line has got. And I agree with what's been said. I think that partnership, Millie Turner coming back in, has been it's crucial. It's kind of coincided with Ladd coming back into the team as well. Bringing those two back in, and I'm going to say a Michael Owen kind of quote here, but if you're not going to concede, you're not going to lose. So it gives us a good basis to move forward, that we can go and attack games a bit more, knowing that we're quite safe behind. And there's obviously discussions in the comments about Blundell not being selected for England. I mean, personally, I'm quite happy with that because it just means more games and more risk of injury. But obviously for her, she should be in there. But no, Atanu, it's good, isn't it? The fact that we, I think Maria got highlighted yesterday because she did have a bit of a shaky first 30 minutes. With us in the ground, we were very nervous. We kept saying, she kept getting beat on that. So I think Arsenal had 2 chances. The 2 chances they did have that I remember in the first half, kind of played across box. Miedemar and Paris both slid in, both missed it. But it's good, isn't it, the fact that we can rotate. We've got players like Kirsty Smith that can play and come in and play that role. Honor came on yesterday, but when she came on, we all thought, oh, he's going to a back 5, and she didn't. Honor was out as a right winger, so it's good that we can rotate, isn't it? And he's kind of got this trust, particularly in the back line.
Yeah, and I think you can see the trust with the academy players as well. We saw Neve Murphy in, I think, 3 matchday squads in December, and in the absence of Martha Harris. So that means that he trusts the team, he trusts the academy players to come in if the starting 11 or the senior team players aren't available. But coming back to the fact that Kirsty Smith, I was really surprised to not see Kirsty Smith in the squad because she's been playing really well. Regarding what you said about Maria Torres' daughter, I think I mentioned it as well that she had a shaky start for the first 20-25 minutes. But in the second half, like you mentioned, it was very necessary to have Maria Torres' daughter in the defense because she was drifting towards the centre back position here and there. Fuso was on the right flank, so she was kind of a right back when Arsenal were attacking. So I think having a player like Maria Torres' daughter is like it's amazing to have 3 wonderful centre backs. What I'm afraid is that there's no 4th centre back right now, and that's something that I think when Millie Turner was injured, we played Mannion and Maria so much that after a while it became too predictable for opposition to see, okay, these 2 players play together and this is what their game plan is like. So it became too predictable. That's why I think we had a rough patch in between. But Millie coming back, because with Millie, she'll go forward, she'll come back, and you can't really predict her when she'll when she'll carry the ball. So that's something that comes with Millie Turner's comeback. And yeah, wonderful defensive depth. The 4th centre back, I know the 4th centre back might not play much, but it's necessary to have that player in the squad.
Yeah, and I think we saw that. Obviously, I'm speculating here. None of us really know, but maybe that is why we didn't see Ladd earlier, because obviously with Millie out, if we'd have had one more injury to a centre back, Ladd at least could have gone back there. Whereas if Ladd had got injured as well, you're looking at the devs and maybe some makeshift centre backs then. So before we move on to the next topic, I want to get actually Namrata and Nats and obviously free, Atanu, John, if you want to jump on the back of this as well. But Namrata and Nat, you've been very vocal on Twitter about this. I don't want to make a big thing about this, but I do just want to mention this just because obviously John's mentioned it in the comments there about this. At the time in the ground, we didn't know what the hell was going on anyway, because it was the other end of the pitch to us. It didn't look like any more than the yellow. We were getting a lot of stick off the Arsenal fans near us saying blatant red. It didn't look it from us. But what I've tweeted it yesterday, what I was most pleased with, Atanu, Zellum, straight over. Not that Martha Thomas needed defending, but straight over. So I don't know whether you two have got anything to add off the back of this, because it was something I haven't seen that kind of. I don't know what you'd call it, like a manager stepping in front of a player like that. It's certainly not something I've seen in the games that I've seen this season.
Go on, Nam, you go.
I think when it happened, right? So when you watch it in real time, it looks like a bad challenge. It looks like a rash challenge, but it's not something that we have never seen in women's football. I mean, most of the fouls like this don't even get a card most of the times. And I think for me, when Jonas kind of stepped in and he was going mental at Thomas, and I was raging. I was raging even after the match at that incident. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans have come in and said that it was Thomas who started it. But the fact is, for a manager who's a professional at the top tier of women's football, you just can't start attacking the players. If you think it's a rash challenge, you can probably, get the referee to sort it out. It was upon the referee whether they have to give a yellow card or a red card. But there is absolutely no excuse for a professional manager to do that. And what I felt was that after that incident, if you watch the game for the next 5-10 minutes, I felt like our players were kind of losing focus, and I was so scared that they're hot in the head. There's an adrenaline rush that's running through it, and I was so scared that Toonie of all the people will probably get another card and she'll get sent off. And I think a few minutes after this incident happened, there was some sort of injury break where the team went to have some drinks, and I remember Mark Skinner was kind of telling them to calm down and focus back on the game. So yeah, I think for the challenge itself, at first it looked like a very rash challenge, but if you watch the clips, as there have been a lot of clips on Twitter, and if you look at the pictures, it looked like that Mead was going in for a low header and Martha Thomas was going for the ball. And the momentum of Beth kind of put her in that path. And it was absolutely nowhere near the face, man. I mean, it's the Katie Zellum thing. It's the opposite of Katie Zellum thing all over again, right? Like the head and the hand stuff. So I think definitely the reaction that you're getting from fans on Twitter, I think it's justified. I mean, it's not the first time this has happened. So, I don't hate him, but I just don't think he's professional enough.
Can I just say something? I was watching Inside WSL, and there was this lady, I don't know her name, and she's called Bex. She's done a players podcast. She's an ex-New Zealand kind of player, and they actually brought it up, and they said, she actually said things like that will affect you as a player, the way that your manager sort of behaves on the touchline, and the things that they say. We think, players are just focused, but if you see because he didn't just sort of just shout, I've seen it with Jose suddenly jumps up and he's in the referee's face, and you've seen Klopp and Pep shouting at each other. So two people shouting at each other is nothing new. If you're watching football, it's been going on since time began. Yeah, but all this kind of the way he sort of ran and then started to point at her, and then when Toonie came over, it was just, let's go, let's have a fight. And I do think, because the way that Zellum sort of grabbed her back, pulled her arms back, I thought, she's going to headbutt him, mate, or she's going to punch him. So, but no, it was good. And you saw Millie come in as well. So I think they knew Atanu was gonna have a go, and I nearly jumped through the telly because I was like, yeah, so I do love it. I do love that needle, but yeah, like what Nam says, it's unprofessional, isn't it? I've never seen a manager full on like that square up to a player like after a tackle. And like you say, it was a tackle, it was rash, but like you say, it wasn't a leg breaker or we've seen worse tackles. Even if you look at when Stanway got Leah and the way that she kicked her so high, and we could have had no one on our bench went up and squared up to Stanway. So why is he sort of squaring up like that? And then I did like how Mark sort of then stood in the way, and then Tooney's had to calm down Mark. So it's just a bit.
Tooney was
crazy,
like, Tooney was like, Mark, you stay back. I'll have to punch this guy.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to say a point here. So for me, it was very interesting that when United players, the three of them, they went and squared up to Jonas. I did not see any Arsenal player even flinch. And if you've seen those clips of Madrid versus Barcelona players when Jose and Pep Guardiola were there, I think there was some incident where like he had some Guardiola had something with Ronaldo, and both the teams kind of got together and they were kind of going at each other. And I felt that when the Arsenal players did not step up, I think it says a lot about the kind of trust they have, or either they're kind of used to it. Maybe he's that's how he usually is, and they're kind of completely used to it. But it was a very big indication for me that there's something wrong in the Arsenal camp. For me, unless you absolutely do not like your manager, you just go, and if another team is kind of creating havoc, you go and you get involved. But none of the Arsenal fans did. None of the Arsenal players did. They didn't even go and check on Beth Mead because they're so used to her, diving and going down. So yeah.
Yeah, it says to me that the one positive I get, because I think you just said it now, when Stanway in the Manchester derby with its players, I think like Tooney did it with I think in that same game actually in the derby, kind of squaring up. I kind of like that. Because it adds a little bit of, and we were giving the Arsenal fans stick. They were chanting stuff back, and it was actually, it really fired us up. It warmed us up because it was a freezing night. It did kind of fire us up a little bit, like, come on, and let's have it kind of thing. But a manager shouldn't be doing that. You're supposed to be there to set the example. You can't. The one thing I love, two things. One, it shows the mentality in our squad that we've got each other's backs. And I said 3 players straight over. Skinner then came over. But also, Martha Thomas just stood there. She almost went to go put her hands behind her back, just like, come on, then. What are you going to do? So I think 2 positives from it, but it just wasn't needed. It wasn't that bad of a tackle. It didn't look that bad of a tackle when we were there. It just, yeah.
Can I just say as well, right, if you look at that Stanway tackle in the derby, that was a bad tackle. And a lot of people were saying, Stanway is a dirty player. Next minute, I've been abused, and everyone's crying. If you look at what Martha put up, she put like that meme or whatever it is, everyone was laughing. We were all laughing. We were like, yeah, go on. And then if you see some of the quote tweets on that, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're disgusting. You should resign as a professional footballer. And I just think, are you okay?
Should go for the legs.
Are you right in the head? And then we talk about abuse. And I think, I wonder what they must be sending, because they're calling her all these names. And I'm thinking, this is abuse, really. I get it. Fans are always going to react to what players put, but it was nothing. It was, like you said, it was nothing tackle. Beth Mead, look, it wasn't like she took out. It was knee height, less than knee height, actually. Shin height. Why are they sort of going after Martha Thomas? That's what I didn't understand. I get it. You're going to defend your players, but that was over the top.
Yeah, the fans like the quote retweets on Martha Thomas' tweet. We've seen it on Beth Mead's tweets from Arsenal fans themselves. So that really speaks so shallow of how Arsenal fans react to everything.
Yeah, 100%. John, I don't know whether you've got anything else to add before we move on.
Yeah, I suppose it was a really bad incident. It always makes me uncomfortable that something that hasn't been mentioned. If that happened in the street, when you think a man approaching a woman in that way, it's not acceptable. And I just think it just looks bad when that kind of thing happens, and it does show a degree of frustration. I think on the managers' count, they've lost 2 games in a row. They've had a number of games postponed, and maybe things also seemed to be going their way, and they was probably frustrated that we were playing well as well, and we obviously deserved the victory. And I know someone mentioned that he's done it before. I've obviously not seen it him do it before, but if he is, then he's obviously got to look himself and and learn to, if he's frustrated, to not do that kind of thing. And and it was great to see Atanu approaching that way, standing up for the teammates. You want to see that because it shows a team that's hungry, a team that's willing to fight for each other. I can't even imagine our own men's team doing that at the moment. So to see the women's team do it, is very pleasing to see.
Yeah, definitely. And the last thing I'll just quickly say on it before Nat will come to your topic, kind of ties into what we were saying earlier. I think Namrata, you said it earlier that the fear of the players losing their heads. There was a time, I think 5-10 minutes after. I think Lad got booked not long after that. She made a couple of tackles, and I think 2 made a tackle. And it's come on, let's calm it down. I think it was actually Atanu that went down. I think I said to John, that's very clever because I think she may have done that on purpose to take the sting out of the game because it was constant Arsenal pressure after that. But yeah, we'll move on slightly. Now, it kind of ties into what we were discussing earlier in terms of Blundell and Mannion, actually, that, they've become very important parts of this back line. And they kind of went, I'm not going to say under the radar, but the feeling amongst the fan base was, well, that's not as good as what, we've let go kind of thing. But they've been arguably 2 of our... I think if you ask United fans to name your top 5 players of the season so far, those 2 would probably be in most people's top 5, wouldn't you say? So I don't know whether you want to lead us into your topic.
Yeah, and it's basically what you're saying, and as well, Martha, she's up there as well. I'd say, I mean, I don't want anyone to take this disrespectfully, but when we signed Martha, Aoife, and Blundell, and I mean, I know Blundell was part of the deal out with LJ, and I feel like everyone was like, what are we doing? We're just going backwards. Martha had come from West Ham, and we'd already got a West Ham striker that didn't really do that great the first time around, so there was a bit of history with that. Aoife Mannion hadn't really played a lot for City, and she had an ACL injury, and then she had a bit of a knee injury, and then Hannah was a Chelsea girl, grew up a lot, but they had brought in like Swedish internationals, this international. So I think this transfer window just gone was sort of, and one of the most underwhelming, I think, as a United fan. I think the first season in, we got Jackie and Lad and McManus, and we knew that it was just sort of a building kind of thing. And then obviously last year, we got, towards the end, it was Tobin, Alessia, Kristen Press. That was like, bang, right, we're here. We're going to be doing this. This is us for the future, signing world-class players. And for me, I think, obviously, to go from that to go to this, it wasn't what we expected, but they've been absolutely amazing. And now I'm thinking, yeah, we all wanted to sign Stina. I think we put a lot of effort into signing Stina, and it didn't work out. And I am disappointed. And I do think, I said it on the show yesterday, Stina would have slotted in and done great. But I'm seeing people maybe say on Twitter, oh, I don't want to sign this player because whatever. I don't want to sign that player because of whatever. And I'm thinking, well, we didn't want to sign Mannion, Hannah, or Thomas either. And look at them. They're like the standout players, obviously, with Vilda as well. But I think we need to look past maybe like, I do still want world class, you still want your Builder, you still want your Jackie kind of level, but that's not all it is about, We need to be looking at, and I feel like this summer, that's what we did. We looked at people who could actually improve the team rather than, boom, 2-time World Cup winner, 3-time World Cup winner, done this here, done this there, plays with Barcelona, and I think maybe that's sort of what we've done with the men's team. This one's done that, and these are the link to this. We just need a decent kind of player, and if they've got decent qualities and we can see where they can add into our team, let's get them in. So I'm not bothered anymore. I mean, you're always bothered, but I'm not bothered anymore about my list and who we can add. I just think, let's bring in good players, whether they're from West Ham, this, that, the other, whether they're on the bench currently. Doesn't matter. If they're good players, they're good players, and we'll get them the best out of them.
Yeah, I think when what Nat mentioned is absolutely right. Nobody was so keen on getting the likes of Blundell, Mannion, or Martha Thomas for that matter. But looking at the team now, it's okay, fine. I get the point that we have to attract world class talent. We have to sign star players because that really increases the brand value. But at the end of the day, if there is no team cohesion, what's the point of having these star players if they aren't gelling with the other players? Then I don't think we should be getting those players. With respect to Stina Blackstenius, we United fans have talked so much about Stina Blackstenius. I think we've done more than 200% of what Arsenal fans have done. Uh, but she didn't sign. It hurts, but maybe she wasn't too keen to play for United. So we can't do anything about that. Yes, the higher ups need to sell the project in a better way, but we can't do anything about it. If you don't want to play for the badge, okay, fine, you can go. It's your loss. You won't get to experience the warmth and the fans atmosphere at LSV or the away games. It's your loss. uh, and I see these stands. First of all, when I won't mention it, but when the two players went, we were a bit sad, but I was happy that we won't get to see the stands again in our mentions. But once in a very while, whenever we tweet about them, they come with a witch hunt. They come with an agenda that United aren't a big club. We are a mid-table club. Okay, fine. It's your opinion. You keep your opinion with yourself. But yeah, I think having star players is important, but as long as it doesn't hamper the cohesion and the balance of the team, we can get them. If they don't want to come to the team, okay, fine, it's your loss. Get lost. Who's
Can
Tina?
I just touch back on one last thing? Sorry. Look at the star player, this and that, and they probably didn't want to come, and they just come for like a little holiday. But look at like Thomas wants to come, got as many goals and assists as the star player, big time shot. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, sorry, John. I didn't know whether you were going to jump in then. Or...
No, I can jump in. I think, I think the point there, but of course you want to be making additions. I did watch show last. I can't remember the lady that you had on, but what she was saying was about us having a chance against Arsenal and that, and we have a very solid team at the moment. I think, of course, if a couple of players get injured, that might change. So that's where you need the strength in depth. However, I think just the way we're playing at the moment, we are dominating a lot of games and we're controlling the midfield better. And I just think that we're now in a position where we can say like we are very hard to beat, and if you are going to beat us, you have to be on top of your game, because we're, aside from maybe City, we're the form team at the moment. And I think going back to star players, yes, of course you might want a superstar, but it's about picking a player who's right for the team that can improve it. And I think sometimes those players aren't the so-called superstars. So, if you want to buy players, you've got to make sure that they'll fit within your system, because I think we have got a system now to move forwards. And at this moment in time, you'd have to say the team we're picking, the 11 virtually picks itself really at this moment, with so many players in form. So I think we're in a good place for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I think I love the aggro coming from Atanu, right? You want to be here, don't go home if you don't. And I love that. And I'm not going to go back to the fans thing, the thing of the past, don't want to go back into that as well. But for me, the two players that I was really excited about in summer was One was Eva Mannion and the second was Sophie Bagley. I remember every single time that I know she's from Bristol, and Bristol's defense was absolutely pathetic, and she shipped in a lot of goals. But if you watch the matches, she actually plays really well. Bristol would probably have scored double the goal, would have conceded double the goals if she wasn't there. And her game management is top class. I remember when we lost to Bristol 1-0 in our first season in WSL, I absolutely hated her in that game because we were 1-0 down, and she was time wasting. She was doing everything to make sure that the team won. So I really wanted that kind of competition and that kind of a player to come to United. Mannion as well, I was really happy to have her because I'd heard a lot of good things from people that before she got injured and before she went to Man City, she was one of the best centre backs in WSL. And I know it was a big risk. She was coming from a big injury, but personally, I have followed her ever since she joined Man City. I followed her journey through ACL, and I think her mentality is something that even though she was a City player, I was really impressed by that. And I felt that, if she's able to get back that form, or, she doesn't, or she recreates that form, but I thought that she can also bring that mentality and leadership to the team. So these two were actually I was really excited about. For Hannah, I remember, we wanted Beth England, we wanted Guru Wrighton, we talked about so many players, and I think none of the fans really would have said that I want Hannah Blunden in the swap for LJ. But I was a bit disappointed, if I'm honest. That wasn't the kind of deal that I was looking at. But the moment that it was announced, I could see that Chelsea fans were really disappointed. They actually thought she's a really good player. And I always feel that if the club fans are disappointed when a player leaves, that means they're actually a very good player. So yeah, I think Martha Thomas as well. She's fitting really well. BBR finally in form. She's loving it. She loves the love she's getting from United fans. Always wanting to play for United. So things are clicking, and I'm really happy and excited with that.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. Borisa came in. She waited for 6 months. I think that's what I've heard for joining us. She trained at her childhood club or her local Norwegian club. But there was this clip that Karen posted today, and John Foster, our the host John Foster, Mr. John Foster, MEFC, actually did a quote retweet and said that a player is coming from another country and they are smiling, they're fitting in well, they are happy, and that's because of the fans' love. And that's what I was referring to. If you don't want to come here, okay, fine, it's your loss. Why? Because when Vilde Borisa came in, everybody who's come in, right from Aoife Mannion, Sophie Bagley, in their interview, if you've seen, they've mentioned the fans. They've mentioned the fans for a minute or 2 minutes because they know how much fans mean to this club. And Aoife Mannion, again, I like Namrata said, she actually told me this in the Twitter DMs as well. How good Aoife Mannion is, and how, like Connor mentioned, she went under the radar. Like when Mannion came in, a lot of the fan base was like, "Who is she? She didn't even start for Manchester City. She was injured. Why are we getting on an injured player?" And right now we see she started each and every game for us. And it's under Millie Turner and Mannion together that we have kept 5 clean sheets in a row. And that just tells you that yes, there is a recruitment plan, but more needs to be done towards this recruitment plan.
Yeah, 100%. I think if I just have the kind of brief last word on this, I think the one thing I'll say is, which is something I'm sure we'll all agree on, Skinner, I think I've said this from the start, it goes for any football team, really. I don't care who the name is. I'm not a fan of players. I support United. Obviously, I love this team, and I love all of the all of the players and the manager, the staff that we've got. But you need players that fit. I think, John, you said it earlier, players that fit the system over top quality players, because you could have the best player in the world. If they don't want to be there and they don't fit the system, they're not going to be that top level player that they are somewhere else. So you need players, whoever that is, as long as Skinner gets the players that he's identified that will fit his style. For me personally, I will take whoever that is. Obviously, we all know we need depth. And I think we all kind of realised after Arsenal, what we could do if we had a second squad like an Arsenal or a Chelsea, that kind of depth. If we had that in every position, what we could go on and do potentially. And pushing for the top 3 Champions League and FA Cup and the Conti and so on. So yeah, I just hope he gets who he is identified, because I think he's shown this season what we can do with a squad, and I think everyone's kind of addressed this. The players that came in, the players that we've mentioned, like Barisa, Mannion, Bagley, Blundell, so on, they want to be here. It's obvious when you see them, at games and you hear them interviewed and things like that. They all want to be here, and that's, to me, and I'm sure to everyone else, that's more important to me. They're absolutely fantastic players as well. That's an added bonus, but first and foremost, they want to be here. That's the main thing. There's still a lot of people watching. Really appreciate everyone tuning into this. I'm trying to get through as many comments as I can as I go. Make sure you're liking the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We really appreciate it. John, I'll come to your topic then. It kind of ties into the thumbnail a little bit as well, talking about kind of expectations for for the rest of the season and achievements and things like that. Do you want to lead us into that one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've obviously only started to follow the women's team this season. I went into it with an open mind, see whether I enjoy it and that kind of thing, and it's completely blown me away by how much I've been so interested in it, and I've now got a women's season ticket and all that. Well, and I think the decline of the men's team, how they haven't been performing, has allowed me to be more of a supporter of the women's team for a number of reasons. When I went to my first game against City in the derby in October, I remember when we were 1-0 down, and then we went 2-1 up after in the space of like 3 or 4 minutes, and I celebrated the second goal as if the men had come from 1-0 down to 2-1 up, and I think the atmosphere at the crowd there's a real community, I feel, between the fans and the players, and that's what I love so much about the women's team. And they play for each other, they fight for each other. We touched upon the Arsenal game when the Arsenal manager was having to go one of our players and a few of our players to be, and there's just a real community feel. We celebrate every goal as if it's a last minute winner kind of thing, and I just think when you think of what happened last season when we were top of the league and then we fell away, and I think it was Kirsty Hansen who mentioned about like whenever we're down, the crowd gives us a boost kind of thing, and basically I think that's possibly one of the reasons why we declined so much last season, because we didn't have a crowd to give the players a bit of a boost, and maybe last season might have been different otherwise. But now that we do have the crowds back in, and with no doubt we the best team for support in the country, and I think whether it's at LSB or we go away, you've got it's not just that you take on the 11 players, you're taking on those fans, that so-called 12th man. And I think, and this is why I'm positive about this season, that we've got momentum now, and us fans will keep pushing the girls to play to their maximum. And in terms of what will happen this season, we'll wait and see. But I think with all that to unfold, we have a chance now of potentially getting the top 3, potentially going to a final and winning something potentially. Obviously, we'd like both. Even if we achieve one, it's a magnificent achievement. So I think that's something we can look forward to between now and the end of the season.
And I want to come to yourself, Atanu and Namrata, first, really, on this, because I'm really intrigued, because I really admire fans from kind of all over the world that, you guys have to get up sometimes, real late to watch some of our games, especially the evening games. So I kind of want to get your, Atanu, I'll come to you first on it. What it's like, do you feel that connection with the players as well, even though you're not at games? Do you kind of see that kind of relationship that maybe us fans have? We see the players week in, week out. Do you kind of feel that, and do you think we do push them on?
Yeah, I think the fans, like John mentioned, are the 12th players, are the 12th players on the pitch. So I think that really speaks highly of how much the fans mean to this club, how much the fans mean to the players. You can see in the videos that Karen posts, and just before I talk further, I just want to give a huge shout out to Karen, because whenever she posts these videos, there was this video where Nat and Karen were hyping Wilde up, and Wilde came running to give a fist bump, and she gave a fist bump to the camera, and it felt like she's giving fist bumps to all the people who weren't there, to all the people who aren't able to go to the matches. You know, people ask, like, people say it generally that why are you watching the women's team at 1:30 a.m. in the morning? There's a men's match going on, and I'm like, okay, you want to watch the men's team, go for it. I'm enjoying, like, in the last game as well. Men were playing the Brentford game, the women were playing the Arsenal game, and there were a lot of fans, new fans, who were like, yeah, just we are shutting our television off, we won't watch the men's team, let's support the women's team, it's the quarterfinal. The time doesn't matter. I know that Natalie and Andy, Namrata were on a Twitter space after the game, and it was around 4:30 a.m. and I was like, okay, it's time to go to bed, it's a working day, it's time to go to bed. But yeah, the time doesn't matter, and you actually feel a part of the fan base even if you're 6,000 kilometers away.
Namrata, is that the same for yourself? Because obviously the same situation.
No, I absolutely agree with Atanu. I remember when I started watching football, I was in school, I think 11 years or something, and I didn't have anybody I knew who was also a United fan. So for the longest time that in my life, I couldn't really talk about United to anyone, but I still followed all the games. So the connection is like so strong that now obviously I enjoy it a lot more. And one of the good things about women's football is because we have this fan community where we can talk to each other, we can share news, we can share updates. And I also feel because the players kind of reach out and connect with the fans a lot more than men's team, that the kind of relatability that you feel, even if you're 5,000 miles away, um, it's really great, and I think I genuinely feel so. Every player, no player is going to say that I don't like the fans of my club, and but I feel like when our players, they say that we really appreciate what fans are doing and we really appreciate them supporting us. I feel like it's coming from somewhere where they're very honest, because I really think that the kind of fan base that we have at United, we're so together and we really love the girls and we relate to the team. That is the biggest thing. Because I remember there were a few years, maybe a couple of years back when I started watching football, women's football, was because I was absolutely mentally destroyed by the men's team. And I think right now, as Atanu said, it's come to the situation that if I have to choose between two of the teams, I watched both of them together, and it was not a good time last time. But I definitely feel connected to the players, and even more so, I feel really connected to the fans over there who go to the matches, and it feels like a really nice and fluid connection between everyone.
100%. I just want to say, like, it was me and Atanu, and I forgot what time it was for you. Sorry, mate. But even though I wasn't at the game on the other night, I stayed up till 3 a.m. just looking, reading, tweeting, retweeting. It gets
Just
you like that.
cut you, Nat. Sorry to cut you, but I woke up and I was like, Nat is still tweeting. She hasn't slept, and it was 3 a.m. there. So I was like, okay, fine. It's 3 a.m. only. I thought they were on our
3
time,
a.m.
so I thought,
only.
okay, 8:30 a.m.
Yeah. But like what John, you said it. You actually, like, maybe you read it, but you took the word. When you said about last year we didn't have the fans, and you say about Kirsty Hansen, and she said it pushes them. For me, that's 100%. I think we would have got top 3 last year if the fans were there.
Yeah.
I just feel like Nam says, everyone's going to say they love the fans. Everyone's going to say, oh, it's 12 play. Oh, everyone's going to say we won because of the fans. But I just feel like with us, it's just a bit different, because if you actually watch a game, if you're at LSV and you see a game, I mean, when big crowds come, yeah, they do it. But I feel like if you look at our team, every single player always comes over to where we are. And if you look at some other teams, maybe City do it because it's a derby, but do they do it every game? Every game, not just sort of, when a lot of people come. And I've spoken to a few other fans that could go. There's only 4 or 5 of them, but I think there could be 4 or 5 of us at a game, and they'd still come over, and they're still, they know. And I feel like, now Chelsea are part, they're going to have an away, and Chelsea did that. I mean, Chelsea fans asked for it as well, but I feel like Chelsea doing it off their own back because they know, like, well, United are going to bring a crowd. We want to do our own thing, but they'll always come over, and I just feel like they always say, how much it means, how it was for the fans. And I mean, if you look at Tooney's even interviews, sort of saying, I'm a fan too, so I know what they want. And Tooney's someone who's been there with us from the start, and probably we've had really highs, we've had really lows. We've I hear Stanley sort of saying, I just want to repay them, and we have to do better than last year and all this. And I feel like everyone's pushing in that same direction, and all that push will hopefully take us over the line. I don't want to say it's definitely gonna, because I feel like last season I was hyped for it, and the way it ended, I was disappointed. But like I said earlier, this is the best football I've seen, and I've been watching it since the start. But I mean, I even think back to when we first started going, and I look at someone like Tooney and the way she is now with the fans, dance. She would have never turned her face to look at any fans, and not like in a rude way, just like shocked, scared. And I remember one of the first things she ever said is when I went to the Villa game and they won 12-0, and that was the first ever league game. And she was like, this crazy lady just shouting. And I feel like everyone was a bit shocked because that didn't happen in women's football, but now it's sort of the norm. And everyone, I mean, we even said it, didn't we, Atanu? Everyone's got an army. Everyone's loud. Everyone wants to do this. Everyone's trying to do what we're doing, because they see the impact that it can have. They see, people are saying, your fans always come, your players always come. Of course, they're always going to come over. They'll come over no matter what. We lost 6-1. They were standing in front of us, clapping and sort of apologising for it, And I think 3 people talked about the men's team and how, because the men's team are the way, I pulled them over to the women's team, and I feel like that is the same thing that sort of not happened to me. I think I was always I was going to both games at the same time. But what sort of definitely more pushed it is the sort of is it apathy that the men sort of have. You see people like, I know I don't want to criticize the men, but I remember I was at Anfield and we lost Jose's last game, and only about 2 players came over, and I just thought, this is Anfield, come on. There's thousands of people there. Thousands of people turn up for the women. They would, even though they lost, they would be still thankful. So that's what I just, that's the difference, I think. And this is why I think we can get that Champions League, because we can do something, because the fans are back. The fans mean so much. Look at Casey, she just wrote in the Barmy article, why for the fans. And I feel like it's different for here at Man United than it is at any other club. I'm not saying that places haven't got good fans, but we're the best fans in the land, easily.
I want to add a quick point there, actually. So I remember when we lost to Chelsea, that 6-1, and I think there was a video of Aoife Mannion where you guys were singing. You guys were still singing for the players, and as they were coming towards you, and there was the video where she looks shell-shocked, like, how are the fans still singing even though we've lost that badly? And I think it just shows how much of a support you are to the team, all of you people who kind of go to the match. And we also try to kind of be a part of that online, but I think match going support is amazing.
It does also show, touch on that point, that the fact that we finally have a Manchester United women's team, it just adds so much to Women's Super League that obviously we knew about City, Arsenal, Chelsea, the best team. But I think finally United having a women's team, it makes such a huge difference to women's football. Like, it was a scar, a stain on us that with the biggest club in the world, and we didn't have a women's team for a long time, and now that we do have one, and naturally we have the best fans for the men, and finally show we got a women's team now, and without question we're the best supported team in the WSL as well. And it's just you just feel a part of it. I think I'm beginning to see now just how connected. I think the women's team understand Manchester United more than what the men's team do at the moment. And that's what I love about it, that they play for each other, they're passionate, they fight for every minute, every second, fight for each other. They won't. They run every blade of grass for each other, and that's what you want to see. And this is why I hope that it leads to something successful towards the end of the season. But fair play to that. And I think also Skinner, there were question marks when he came in, but now even he's coming into his own now, and we don't know where it'll take us, but certainly now I'd argue we're possibly in a better position. It's possibly the best position we have been. I know last season we were top, but we didn't have a crowd, whereas now it's like we're in a good position and we have the best supported fans, which would hopefully push us on there towards the end. And I just think it's such a massive addition to the WSL that we have a Manchester United women's team.
Yeah, 100%. Atanu, did you want to make it?
Yeah, it's a small point. Samantha Miller posted a video of the Russo goal and the celebration. I was looking at the fans at the back and I was like, oh God, look at Connor over there, look at Karen over there, look at Anthony, who I think there was some sort of gate and he came out and the steward came in and he went back. And yeah, the commentators as well, you hear it on the MUTV, on FA Player, they always mention the Bami Ami. Siobhan Chamberlain, I don't remember which game it was. I think the game that Nat missed, the Reading game, she gave a shout out to Nat in that. So this tells you that we say, okay, we are the best fans in the world. The commentators even know, the opposition players even know that we are the best fans, and it's their loss that they aren't in this. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%. I think just briefly from myself, obviously I can I'll talk about the most recent game, obviously Arsenal. That to me, there must have only been about 20-25 of us, but we absolutely made as much noise as we possibly could. Absolutely took over. Arsenal were nicking our songs, trying to make up their own, just with and we just sung louder than them because there was only about 10 of them that tried. And as you said there, Atani, with the goal, I'm so glad that was captured in a way because. It was you just kind of lose it, and that's what football is. You kind of just lose yourself with people around you. I met some people I've never even seen before, and I think we all just I don't know where the footage is. I don't know what the broadcast was for, and I'm kind of glad I've not seen it anywhere since. But at full time, there was about 5 of us that just ran to the camera in front of us and started screaming in it because why not? And I do think
fair play to the 10 Arsenal fans who sang. It's more than the Emirates, isn't it?
It's the influence. I think that you've said it before. It's good that other teams are now trying it. We wanted that. We said halfway through, we were getting some stick off the Arsenal fans doing some chants back to us, and I think it was me and Shane looked at each other and said, "We actually want that. Come on, let's start having a bit of because it's as long as it keep friendly and things, it's fine." But going back to your original point, I do agree. I think that that's what I was going to go up to Skinner afterwards. Is obviously Karen's put the video on. You can kind of hear it. I was going to go up to him and say, "I bloody love you," but I thought that would scare him off, so I thought I might not do that. But that kind of connection, the fact they do come over, obviously Mary Earps came over, we waited for all the players afterwards, and they really do, and I do think we do push them on. I agree with what's been said. I think last season we may have got top 3 if we fans were there and kept the kind of the pressure on. It's not even pressure, is it? It's support, isn't it? And like you said, mentioned that's the Chelsea game, the 6-1. They all still come over. They all really apologetic and that kind of thing, and that support is brilliant, and that's never going to go, and it's going to keep growing as well, which is good. Namrata, sorry, we've got to come to you last on this one, but it was briefly mentioned by John there. It's a nice little segue into your topic about Skinner.
Yeah. So actually, what I really want to talk about was I wanted to kind of talk about how I feel that the kind of criticism that Mark faced at the starting of the season actually turned out to be a good thing, because if you look at Jonas Idewal, right, both of them were kind of coming into 2 new clubs who were in a very similar situation. So Arsenal, just like us, they also had that Athletic article come out saying players are not happy with the facilities. They want the coach change. The top players, they are kind of concerned that the club is not showing ambition. both the clubs had a horrible second half of the season, and we had our managers leave at the end of it. Of course, Jonas had a 2 month head start, but what I feel is that when it came to Mark, because right from the start we lost two really big games. We lost to Chelsea, which was something like nobody could have thought we would lose so badly. Then we lost really badly against Arsenal as well. I think the expectations that were there on Mark and the team kind of lowered because of this. And I think he was thrown straight into the deep end. Right, he had a lot of pressure from the fans. He had fans questioning everything. When he used to come on the interviews, we used to dissect it and kind of make fun of him, and all those things. Like I thought we were very comfortable. So sorry. So I feel like the criticism that he got, I think it spurred him into trying to make uh, very changes very soon. He knew that he doesn't have the time where he can probably go, the whole season to just see how he's going to improve the team. And he had to think really hard. He had to think of new ways. He had to think of this 5-6 midfielders playing together, and he had to come up with a solution. And I think for us, it happened at a good time because we had the season break to go. While if you look at Jonas Idol, right, he started out really well. Arsenal were flying. The fans were really happy. Everyone was saying they're the favorites to win the league. But if you look at it, they're in a really bad form now. And Jonas does not really have the time to put it right because it's the worst time. They don't have the players. They have players injured, and uh, right now he's in a lot of pressure. And I think for Mark, it turned out to be the opposite way. I'm not saying that we're anywhere close to the finished article yet. I feel that there's so much we still have to improve, and he definitely needs signings, right? He definitely needs new players to really take us to the next level. But I think that initial tough phase kind of made him change things very quickly. And now when you look at his interviews, he's talking about, yeah, we should not be setting our standard at Arsenal. We should be looking at even higher than that. So I think he's grown a lot. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I think that phase of high pressure, high expectations, and a lot of criticism actually really helped him in the long term.
Yeah, I agree with those points. I think with Skinner, obviously wasn't everyone's favourite for the job. And to begin with this season, there was a lot of frustration that perhaps wasn't picking the right team. We drew a lot of games. I think we were starting a lot of games well, but then we were conceding late goals. When the Tottenham, the Everton away, even the City League game against 10 men get 2-1 up through 2-2, and it took him a while to find the right team. And I think it was what game was it? The Brighton game, wasn't it? And he got Risa in, and that was the first time, or one of the first times this season, where we really controlled the game for virtually the whole game. And I think now you're beginning to see the team is investing in him. He obviously previously was playing with two wide players, Nansen and Goldson. I know Goldson's played a couple of games, but now I think he's stocked up in the middle of the park. It means that we're controlling games better, and when you're controlling games in the midfield, you're going to be very, very hard to beat, and more often than not, you will win games. I think it took his time to discover that. I know Natalie was saying throughout a few months ago, or a couple of months ago, that whether you understand what it means to be like Manchester United manager in terms of what the demands are and that kind of thing. And maybe now he's starting to realise the demands that, we do expect. It's a tough job for him, but finally I think he's coming into his own. He's got a team that we can believe in. And like I say, I hope it'll lead to further success.
100%. I think as well. I think at the start he came in. I think everyone sort of gives a guy a chance at the start. So I think he came in. He heard a song about, I think all these kind of things got a flag. They, like you're saying about Jonas, it's sort of, You know, because started saying all these things about Beauty and the Beast, Red Wave. I don't mind Red Wave, but you know, Beauty and the Beast, everything's beautiful. This wonderful club. He's not saying things like that anymore. I think he's talking like a Man United manager in that he's just saying, "Listen, this is a quarter final. This is not where we want to be." You know, that kind of assertiveness, commanding. It's great to see, and I think I just want to touch back to sort of touchline as well. When you saw Mark, especially in the first few games, he was very at the front and he was jumping all around, and you know, and I talked about that Beck said about how a manager can affect you, and Martin now sort of is the man who's Martin was always at the front. Martin Ho, he's the assistant manager. He was always sort of at the front, but very much so. Mark sort of is in the background a bit. Not doesn't mean he's not doing this or he's not doing that. It's just like I said, delegating the best people for the job. If Martin's best at communicating out during the game, we'll let Martin do it then. You know, he doesn't have to. Mark doesn't have to do everything, and I feel that's what he's very good at. He's very good at. You know, I want to just touch back on the last podcast. Mia talked about roles and everyone knowing their roles, and I feel like he's tweets a bit. He's maybe changed it. He might have even changed the way he. You know, we might not be playing the full Skinner ball 100%, but you've got to sort of adapt to the players that you have. And I feel like he's done that with the whole 5 midfielders. And, you know, Mia talked about Case used to make the pitch wide. These guys, he wants to make it narrow, but he wants to move it quick. And I feel like slowly, they've believed in it. But I feel like he's sort of, like what he said about expectations, he's sort of, well, I think when he said about the comment that he made today about, oh, I should have gone on Twitter and said, thinking that was a little dig at Emma Hayes. So he knows that he sees things. And, you know, I think fans still singing after 6-1, but saying they're embarrassed, they're disappointed, you know, maybe. And he was sort of saying, well, it's a loss, it's a loss. No. It's the manner, it's the way, and I feel like, you know, it's different from Birmingham. Maybe a couple of years ago in WSL you could be like that, and at Birmingham, you know, Birmingham might take a 6-0, 6-1 defeat. You know, at Man United you can't be losing 6-1 and sort of saying it's all right. It's not all right. It's embarrassing. It's not good enough, and you know, it's not acceptable. And I feel like, you know, after that, and then a lot more criticism came, then all those draws, and a lot more criticism came, but. You know, criticism to be better. I think he sort of is very grateful of the fans, because I think he got a lot of criticism at his last place. But he is grateful of the fans that, yeah, we're angry, but it's not a case of getting personal or this and that. It's just sort of saying, do better. You must do better, and, you know, pushing him to do better. And he always sort of says, we're going to work to the last minute. And I do think he has worked to the last minute. But he's not letting him consume him, because this place, it can consume you, because you know, we're talking about we want to get transfers, and we know how that works in the men's side. It seems to be coming over to the women's side, but he's not letting that sort of ruin what we're building. You know, I hope that we do get transfers. I mean, I'm seeing people asking all the way through transfers. For me, I think the best thing that we can hope for is maybe, you know, NWSL isn't starting. We know that Rachel Daly's training with us. If she needs to sort of play, stay, come on loan, you know the team, you know how we play, you know the style, so that would be a good one. But like I said, some people might not think that she's good enough, but if she fits into the team, Mark probably wouldn't be letting her train in it if she was upsetting the apple cart. So must get on very well. That would be one that I'd want, but you know, as well, I'm not expecting a lot. I'm expecting them to probably wait till summer. I hope it doesn't. You know, because I feel like, you know, Arsenal have added 3 in, maybe talking about adding another. They're going through a rocky patch, but we all know that new signings can give you a little bounce, and I feel like just one new signing will give us a little bounce, maybe. But it is what it is, you know. I like what he's saying, one step at a time, one step at a time. I think he was too like, oh, in years to come, forget about years to come, we're here now. And I feel like he has consciously, you know, well, I'll say his name, Mitch Leverett, says, oh, you're not going to change the way he talks, but he has changed, and he sort of understands it more. And I feel like he's taking time just to understand what it means to be Manchester United. And fair enough, he's doing a good job now.
Yeah, building up on what Nat said, it's good to see him not mention the Beauty and the Beast thing anymore. It's good to see that he's actually there's something that he said, see past the ceilings that people give us. So he's just talking like a Manchester United manager right now. Shakespeare stuff like our previous managers used to do. But yeah, I think he came in too late into the transfer window. Our whole business was done by then. I don't know whether the signings were his or the previous managers, but he came in late into the window, and after 2 3 days, he took charge of the preseason game against Villa or Liverpool, if I'm not wrong. So this window was actually going to be key for him. I don't know what's happened. Nobody knows what's happened, but yeah, he deserves to be back. Initially after the first two wins against Reading and Leicester, he was like, okay, it's going to be an easy ride. But then he got a shock against Chelsea. We won then against, I think it was Brighton or Birmingham, I don't remember. But after that, the Arsenal game was an eye opener for him, because people were saying, okay, the season's finished for United. A lot of rival fans were like, they won't make the top four, they won't make the top five. But I think he realized that yes, it's important to build a sustainable future, but the season isn't over. So I think that after that Arsenal game, we've been amazing. And credit to Mark here. We've criticized him when he's not done well, but right now he's doing really well, and we all are so proud of him.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me personally, I think I've obviously none of us have not backed him. I think that I don't think any fan that certainly that I know would go against the players or the manager. But I think me and maybe a couple of others more than most have backed him more than maybe others, maybe too far sometimes. But yeah, I think confidence plays a huge part in any sport, and I think now when you've got momentum as well as another key word that we hear a lot. When you've got that, it's very easy to pick a side when you're winning because you can just kind of put, could change one or two. But we saw it against Arsenal midweek. You could change a couple of players. The confidence is high though, so it's fine. You can afford to do that. When it's not going so well, everything is scrutinized. We were looking at his interviews, we were looking at individual players, we were looking at everything because it wasn't going so well. Now we're like, we don't really care what he says in interviews too much because we're winning and everything's great. So we're not going to microanalyze everything that's going on. So yeah, I'm glad for him. Like I said, I hope he gets obviously back this window. I do agree in some sense that the original point to this, about fans' criticism of him. I think he has learn. I think obviously Nat, you've had a couple of conversations with him outside games and things like that. I think he probably, I genuinely think he takes them on board because I think, like the players, I think they do care and they will listen to fan opinion. So I'm sure he has taken that on board and things like that. And I think criticize when it's not going so well. Like I said, he's had interactions with people and he's heard it, and now I think he deserves the credit. And that's why we spoke to him after the Arsenal game and said thanks for that kind of thing. And he's really appreciative of the fans. So I think it works both ways, doesn't it? When it's not going so well, we're allowed to say that, and same when when it's going well, he deserves the praise as much as the players do as well. I've got one more question before we wrap up. I'm going to go through each of you just a kind of quick fire. I'm going to put you all on the spot here. Obviously, Spurs on Sunday. I'll come to each of you for a score prediction, and you can do goal scorers and whatever else you want to do. Atanu, I'll come to you first on that one.
No score prediction. I think Russo will score a goal. And if Hansen is fit and she's playing, I think she'll get a goal because we haven't seen her score a goal in some time. So I think she'll be back.
Namrata?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big scoring game. I think probably we'll win 1-0 or 2-0. I think we'll continue our streak of clean sheets. Scorers, I think there was something about Martha Thomas having an injury, so I'm not sure if she's going to play. But I would love an Ivana goal against Spurs. So I'm going for Ivana and Russo because that's just what she does.
Oh, sorry. For 1 minute, Mannion will score her first goal. Mannion will score her first goal.
Against
If not, then Blundell.
okay.
Me, I'm gonna go for I think we'll edge it 2-1, and I'll go with Toon to get one, and I think Galton will go winner.
3-1 Man United. I'm not going to go for scorers. I'd love anyone to score, but I'm just, I do think, I'm not trying to be overconfident with it by saying 3-1. I just feel like this is the momentum we have, and I feel like Spurs, they had that 1-1. It would have been disappointing for them. I know they did beat Liverpool, but I just feel like I feel Spurs are very good players as well, but I just feel like this is the Man United I know again, and I just know that when they come up against Spurs, this is what will happen. So I think 3-1.
Definitely. I think I said on Anthony's prediction show earlier, I think I'm going to stick with 3-1 as well. I worry slightly that we're going to have a little bit of a hangover in defence. As we mentioned earlier, that back four worked very, very hard. I know obviously Honor came on quite late, but they had to work hard against an Arsenal side. So if there's anything potentially that's going to worry me, it's Mannion, Blundell, and obviously Militão, and if Maria plays as well, they worked very, very hard Wednesday night, and obviously they're going to have to do the same again at the weekend. So, yeah, I think 3-1. I think we've got enough firepower. Galton seems to be, she was brilliant again the other night. Russo's obviously on form. Atanu can make a chance out of nothing. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with 3-1 because why not? And yeah, why not? Let's give hopefully a first goal scorer, Mannion or Blundell, because why not? We'd love to see that at home as well. So what we're saying here, 2-0 goal.
Exactly. Let's go.
I think
Jackie
the roof
scores
might
on the
pitch.
Yeah.
Anthony was very close to going on the pitch on Wednesday night, so I think that will be the one that will be close if Jackie scores on Sunday. Thanks all for tuning in. It's been a brilliant show. I've loved hosting this with this brilliant panel. Obviously, there's content all over the weekend. I believe Benny and Matt's show is back tomorrow, and obviously all the match day content on Sunday and everything else. And the match reaction will be back on Monday. So have a good weekend, all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.